God's prophets in general history, the lost Temple of Solomon. The search for the Temple of Solomon continues to this day, but no trace has been found. In spite of archaeology's confirmation that no traces of the children of Israel can be found in Palestine, misleading the peoples is considered a political act. Solomon's temple has been lost, so where is it? A description of Solomon's temple in the Torah. There is a description of the Temple of Solomon in the first book of Kings. It is only necessary to apply what is written to the Temple of Petra, which is the Temple of Solomon, located on the border between Jordan and Saudi Arabia. The first sign of the temple is that the temple is carved into a mountain. The first book of Kings 15. Now Solomon had 70,000 who carried burdens, and 80,000 who crossed the mountain. The second sign is that the temple is not next to Jerusalem. The first book of Kings 46. The king cast it in the Jordan Valley, in the potter's ground between Sukkot and Zaretan. In the Torah, Jordan does not refer to the current state of Jordan, which is a new state, but rather to Asia Minor, which is the crossing point between Europe and Asia across the Bosphorus Strait, Turkey. The Torah Deuteronomy 4:21, and the Lord was angry with me because of you, and he swore that I would not cross the Jordan nor into the good land, which the Lord your God is giving you for an inheritance. 22 Then I will die in this land, I will not cross over the Jordan. But you will go over and possess this good land. The third sign, the description, refers to a city, not a temple, and the evidence for this is that this city contains several temples. Among them is the house of the forest of Lebanon and the house of Pharaoh's daughter. Inside this city there are 45 rooms carved into the mountain. The first book of Kings 3, and it was roofed with cedar from above over. The 45 chambers that were on the pillars. Each row is 15. Petra still bears the same names mentioned in the Torah in the description of Solomon's temple, including the house of Pharaoh's daughter and the house of the forest of Lebanon. The fourth sign, the treasury, is the house of the Lord. I will not elaborate much on this point, but I will mention to the Castor and Pollux, Dioscuri, Castor, and Polydeuces from the Greek myth relief carved on the outer wall of the treasury, Alcazar, Petra, Jordan. The first book of Kings. 21 And he set the pillars in the porch of the temple. So, he stopped the right pillar and called its name Jachin. Then he stopped the left pillar and called its name Boaz. The description of Petra's treasury in the Torah does not require debate. The meaning of the word Petra in the Greek language means temple. The fifth sign, marveling at the location of Solomon's temple. 2 Chronicles 7:21 And this house, which was high up, everyone who passed by would marvel and say, Why has the Lord done this to this land and to this house? 22 And they will say, Because they forsook the Lord, the God of their fathers, who brought them out of the land of Egypt, and took hold of other gods, and bowed down to them and served them. Therefore he brought all this evil upon them. Names of Petra throughout history. Petra was given several names. The Temple of Zeus, the Temple of Athena, Al-Aqsa Mosque, Jerusalem, the city of Elijah, and the Temple of Solomon. Petra was built in the 3rd century BC, the same period as Alexander the Great. What is the secret of Petra's disappearance from history? The answer to this question takes us back to the Crusade Wars between Saladin and the Crusaders. The slogan of the war at the beginning was the return of Holy Petra. And the reason for the war was that the Arabs took the temple after the death of the Prophet Muhammad, who visited it on the night of the night journey. The Crusader army passed through Arab Jerusalem without entering it. In the Battle of Hattin between Saladin al-Ayyubi and the Crusaders, in the desert, Saladin awaited the Crusaders if they headed to Petra. There is no need to go into the heart of the desert, for no reason, unless their goal is Petra. Effects of the Crusades inside Petra. There are traces of Saladin's war with the Crusaders, as well as a Crusader military site. Petra has Christian churches. Why were churches built inside Petra in the middle of the desert? The secret of disappearance after the war between the Arabs and the Crusaders, Saladin prohibited pilgrimages to it, or visits to it, to prevent problems and tension in the region, until it was discovered in the 18th century AD by the Swiss Johann Burckhardt. The Swiss scientist Johann Burckhardt discovered Petra while on a trip into the desert, and when he wanted to enter it, the guards refused him entry because he was not a Muslim, which made him assume the name of a Muslim from Turkey. So he entered it, drew it, and published these drawings. On his return to Europe after the discovery of Petra, archaeologists did not find anything other than that this city belonged to the Nabatean Arabs, and this is a big, big mistake. The Nabatean Arabs have no connection to the Greek religion. The one who built this temple belonged to the Greek religion. He was Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great and Petra. Arab sources reported that Alexander the Great visited Jerusalem and made a pilgrimage there. Josephus, the Jewish historian in the 1st century AD, mentioned a story about a Jewish soldier, Ionian, who was in the army of Alexander the Great, and that the army of Alexander the Great was on its way to the Red Sea, the location of the Temple of Petra. We still have a lot about Alexander the Great and Prophet Solomon. Hesham Taher.